Let me ask you something that might bother you a little. If confidence, charm, and game are what attract women, why do you keep seeing men with none of that in relationships while you're still trying? This video is about why men with no game still get women, and more importantly, what they're doing without even knowing it, that most men accidentally destroy. If you've ever felt like you're doing everything right and still getting nothing back, stay with me. This will rewire how you see attraction. You were told attraction is something you perform. Say the right thing, act confident, be funny, be impressive, so you try, and the harder you try, the worse it feels. Now here's the uncomfortable truth most people don't want to admit. Attraction isn't created by effort. It's revealed by absence. That's the first crack in the illusion. You've seen this before. The quiet guy, the average-looking guy, the man who barely talks, no flashy clothes, no smooth lines. Yet somehow, he's chosen. Meanwhile, the man who studied attraction is anxious, overthinking, checking his phone, replaying conversations in his head. This isn't random. This is psychology. When I say no game, I don't mean awkward or boring. I mean, he's not performing. He's not seeking approval. He's not emotionally chasing. Men with no game are not trying to be anything, and that's exactly why they're attractive. Most men leak neediness without realizing it, not through words, but through energy. For example, here's what a man who's chasing says. So, yeah, I don't usually text first, but I just thought I'd say hi. He thinks he's being polite. That sentence carries an apology for existing. What he's really saying is, please don't reject me. Now compare that to a man with no game. He says, hey, that's it. No selling, no explaining, no emotional weight. And here's the brutal part. The second man isn't better. He's just not afraid. Attraction responds to emotional stability. When you want something badly, your nervous system tightens. Your tone shifts. Your reactions speed up. You feel silence. Women don't analyze this consciously. They feel it. A calm nervous system feels safe. A restless one feels needy. That's the core mechanism. Let me show you something simple. For example, you're talking. There's a pause. The man who's chasing fills the silence immediately, explains, jokes, adds more, but the man with no game does nothing. Not because he's playing a trick, because silence doesn't scare him. That silence creates space. Space creates gravity. Men who don't care about winning or losing, and men who don't fear losing act naturally. That naturalness is rare. Most men are mentally begging without speaking. Let's go inside the mind for a moment. Man who's chasing thinks, did I say the right thing? Should I text again? What if I lose her? But the man with no game thinks, whatever happens, happens. That difference changes everything. So here's the solution. Remove urgency. This isn't about acting uninterested. It's about removing internal urgency. If you feel rushed, she feels pressure. If you feel calm, she feels choice. So the solution isn't to wait 3 days to text. It's to stop emotionally hovering. If she responds, fine. If she doesn't, also fine. That's not strategy. That's self-respect. Effort signals value in work, but in attraction, effort signals scarcity. When you try to earn interest, you imply you don't expect it. Men with no game don't try to earn anything. They assume their presence is enough, or it's not worth forcing. That assumption is powerful. Here's the biggest mistake men make. They explain themselves too much. Notice how often men over-explain why they texted, why they're busy, why they feel a certain way. Explanation is subtle permission seeking. Men with no game don't explain because they don't feel the need to justify their existence. Try this instead. Say less, mean more. Attraction follows the calmest person in the room. Not the loudest, not the funniest, the calmest. That's why grounded men feel magnetic without effort. For example, she cancels a plan. The man who's chasing says, oh, okay, no worries. Totally understand. Maybe another time. But the man with no game says, all good. Same situation, different emotional posture. One is afraid of loss. The other accepts reality. Detached from the outcome. Detachment doesn't mean coldness. It means self-anchoring. Your mood doesn't depend on her reaction. Your worth doesn't fluctuate with attention. You stop chasing feelings and start creating space for them. The real reason why game fails is game teaches you to act, but attraction responds to who you are when you're not acting. The moment she senses performance, tension enters the room. Men with no game aren't better communicators. They're better regulators. Here's a bitter truth you need to listen. Not every woman will be attracted to you, and that's a relief, because once you stop trying to be universally liked, you stop leaking desperation. Rejection stops being a threat and starts being information. The most attractive shift is to let go of the need to be chosen. You stop auditioning, you start observing, you're not there to convince, you're there to see if you even want this connection. That reversal changes your posture, your tone, your presence. This feels rare because most men are emotionally noisy. They want reassurance, validation, proof. Men with no game are quiet internally. That quiet is addictive. Attraction isn't built, it's uncovered. When you remove fear, remove urgency, remove performance, what's left is presence. And presence is felt instantly. So if you've been trying harder and getting nowhere, maybe the answer isn't to add more, maybe it's to subtract. Subtract the need to impress, subtract the fear of loss, subtract the urge to perform. Men with no game don't win because they're special. They win because they stop fighting themselves. And once you do that, everything changes.